My name's Lee Stark. I'm a school counselor in the Bitterroot Valley in western Montana. And over the course of my career, especially in recent years, I think I've become more aware of the effect of trauma and secondary trauma and the impact it can have in a school system and how it can adversely affect school staff, including myself. And that was all prior to the effects of a global pandemic and what came with that. And so as I've had the opportunity to learn from and collaborate with Andy Laue and so many other incredible professionals within this STAR-T framework, I've been able to witness some of the work that Andy has done with organizations in Missoula and around this state. And so I began to contemplate how I could bring this framework, which is so focused on engaging trauma in ways that can lead to post-traumatic growth, how I could bring that into a school system. And so after bringing Andy down for an introduction into this material for our school staff, it became clear to myself, as well as quite a few staff, that in order to really integrate this work, we would need to regularly meet and practice these skills, these resiliency practices. And so in the fall of 2020, 11 initial staff members and then later another group of 11 got together and we formed these practice groups that were focused on connecting and strengthening our response to trauma. And we did it through relationship-based and body awareness skills. We met bi-weekly after school at the beginning of the year. And then as the year progressed, we moved those meetings to monthly meetings that were a little bit longer in duration. And we just wrapped up, and at our last gathering, I sat down with a few of these group members and we reflected a bit, and we talked about some of the most resonant moments that happened in this group process. I asked them if they planned to continue any of the practices that we focused on in these groups. I asked them how they grew this year and the impact that a framework like this or the benefits of a framework like this can have in a school system. And then finally I asked them to summarize their overall experience in just a few words. And so to those individuals that you're about to meet and to those that don't appear on camera, I just want to say to them that I am so grateful and honored for the experience that we shared this year and what we co-created.
There was always a time where everything seemed to gel and everything was connected and you kind of knew you were all on the same plane and same place, and having that connection was calming and grounding.
I think every person had at least one moment where they really opened up to the rest of us, and it made me feel special and trusted and part of a bigger process, and it was really special and powerful.
I think for me, the most impactful or memorable moment would be when we were talking in metaphors. Even in talking in metaphors, we were able to understand one another. And some of the connections that grew out of that and understandings that grew out of that. That was pretty powerful.
What I remember is the first couple of groups kind of like, what's the point? What are we doing? How is this gonna work? And not realizing what the end point would be, and just like sticking with it as it built into what it was. We built so much over the school year. And then really taking the time in the group, I feel like it set a foundation for us, a few of us, as the year went on, being able to develop a really deeper relationship so we could weather some pretty harsh storms. And without that foundation, I just don't think we could have done what we did this year. And I don't think it would have been as meaningful or as deep or as helpful for one another.
I felt like I was alone all the time, and everything that I was going through, I had no one else to relate to. And then when we met, there was we're feeling the same thing, and we may be different and it may be the same, but at the end of the day we're feeling the same thing and we're going through the same thing. And like that was really helpful to just hear other people's perspectives.
There's been a lot. I'll say that first meeting though, I started the school year off like really in a pretty dark place, I'd say, and feeling really empty, and not valued, and like I didn't have a lot to give to the kids, and just being able to express that and to be received and acknowledged meant more to me than I thought. It meant more to me than I even understood at the time. It was really impactful and really helped me get through the year, and helped me begin, I think, a lot of growth as a person this year. This year's been really challenging, but also really transformative in ways that I couldn't have even guessed. Yeah.
If I really think about it, my most memorable moment of the whole time was the first time we did the rope, and the way, and I still think about that all the time, of the leaning in and feeling other people's support. And
it's kind of helped me get reacquainted with music, with Bob Prince having us do the drone centering activity. That was pretty powerful for me, and I realized that it helps you get in touch with your feelings.
Yeah, I think the body awareness, especially within teaching and in a classroom, and understanding levels of stress, and trying to just remember to check in with yourself as you're going through whatever you may be presented with that day.
I think a lot of the breathing, a lot of like the grounding, like when a lot of things are going on, like I'm constantly being like, my feet are planted, I'm okay. Like just setting your feet down and like focusing on just your feet, or like the mindfulness of like just checking in with your body.
Definitely body tracking, and I think that's helped in the classroom too, like having my students do some body tracking and talking about that. I think when you teach a skill, then it kind of helps you remember it too.
I like to think of myself as fairly in touch with my emotions, but I've realized through this process that at work I'm not, that there's a disconnect between my emotions in the moment. And so the body scans and the breathing have really helped me connect more with where my body is when I'm at work.
I like the metaphors. It's a good way for me to incorporate the earth into the emotional piece and the physical piece, and kind of just like reshuffle the deck of cards. It's a different way to look at things and deeper meanings. And
two for sure. The first being a transitional ritual. I've been trying to practice that a lot, just even though I just have a short transition from work to home, but I've really been implementing that. And then also, well, I guess 3, grounding, but also just breathing. Like the breathing has been my safety net lately.
Like bringing that attention inward is something I want to continue, because it's easy just to get caught up in the things you have to do and the tasks you have to finish, and not think about where you are and how you are and what you need to be or what you should be, and those grounding exercises, those arriving exercises, were just stopping and just being. It's like hitting the reset button. Those are really valuable, and I want to continue those.
It builds better, resilient teachers, it helps them be able to remove themselves from their work, and then it makes them more present in the classroom. So they're not overworked and overran and they're burnt out. I think it helps not burning out teachers and finding like a presence, but also like a grounding, whether it's in their job or outside of their job.
I think being able to make those connections within the group then just strengthens the connections outside of the group. And when we're looking for a cohesiveness with our staff and our staff feeling comfortable to take risks and know that they're supported by the people around them, I think these kind of are the stepping stones, or these types of activities can be the stepping stones to helping make that happen.
People just like feeling that reassurance of that we're all like going through something tough and that we're all like there for each other, and yeah, just seeing everyone from the group in the hall and feeling that connection, especially on a hard day, can be really powerful.
I think that as teachers and staff, it's important to model things for our students, and this is a great way to get in touch with those emotions and figure out kind of what is going on with you and where you stand on things.
I think this kind of work can translate to almost any work environment where stress is involved, and the connection and support I have felt with my coworkers this year has been really powerful. And even though we don't see each other maybe except for at these meetings, the connection and the support that I feel from them and just the knowledge that they will be there for me if I need that has just really created a strong bond that I think will enhance any work environment.
I think all teachers, like, we have our own little room and our own little class, and it's sometimes hard to have that genuine interaction with our colleagues and coworkers, and to be open, and so we end up being on this island, you know, emotionally, spiritually, and we end up kind of getting burnt out. And you know, we're constantly expected to give everything we have to the children, but if we're not ourselves getting filled back up, it just ends, it's this cycle of depletion, constant depletion. And I think we were all feeling that, and like having these groups is a means to fill your teachers back up so they can give their best to the children, which is what we're called to do. And so I think as an administrator, like, do I want my teachers to be the best people they can be? Well, yes, then I need to do this. Yeah.
I never realized really how much everyone does at the school, and if you can create that bond and that connection with people, it's going to really, I mean, I want to say the word resilient, but I guess that's what we're talking about. It does. It provides resiliency and just a connection, and I would say absolutely it's priceless, really.
Just building that connection one person at a time, one group at a time. I think the people in our group were just benefited so much from it. And then it's neat to see each other in the hallways and be able to just feel that connection outside of those groups too, and know that there's safe people and safe places at school when the going gets tough.
Vulnerability, authenticity, connection.
Yeah, I think connectedness, probably some humility, and gratitude.
For some reason, the word profound comes to mind. I don't know why, just like a profound realization of what we can do when we come together and support each other. I'm humbled by everybody's, the way that people hold each other up and connect.
Strength, vulnerability, and empowerment.
Genuine. Felt. Yeah. I was thinking today, like namaste, that word means like my soul sees your soul. But I think that's correct. I'm pretty sure. When we were doing that closing circle, I felt that. It's like, I see, my soul sees your soul, and your soul sees mine. Yeah.
Changing, present, and grounding. Like grounding's my huge word, I think, through all this. Like I see it as like a tree. Like I'm the trunk of the tree, my roots are planted, and like the storm is gonna like make my leaves go crazy, but I'm grounded and I'm not gonna move. Hopefully.
Surprised and challenged and really grateful.